Yeah, when someone, I can't remember who it was, came and got me and said that Becky had a seizure in the bathroom, and I obviously was very puzzled what was going on. And then when they took me into the bathroom, it was pretty obvious that she had had a heart attack.
I don't remember getting the kids ready or coming to church actually that day, but I'm really grateful I did. For whatever reason, I decided to go that day, even though I didn't feel good. Troy said I started feeling nauseous, and so I went to the bathroom, and that's where I collapsed.
They had the AED out, and I don't know how long we were in there, but it seemed like forever. And it was extremely emotional, obviously, because I kept hearing things like, well, she's not breathing, and then she's breathing, and then there is a pulse, there's no pulse. So I heard those things intermittently. And then finally the ambulance came after I think they shocked her twice. And then, I came out of the bathroom very emotional. One of the first people I saw was Rodney. And I, basically, told Rodney I didn't know if she was going to make it. And then from there, it was just a matter of getting to the hospital. Mark was able to take me to the hospital and the boys to the hospital. And once we got there, it was kind of a waiting game. And you just, like you said, the emotions of it. You don't know what to feel. You don't know, whether to be optimistic, because they tell you to be optimistic, but it just didn't look very good. And it took them a while that Sunday night to get her heart to settle down, is how they put it, and put her on quite a bit of different medication to get that to happen. And once that finally happened, then it was a matter of, okay, now what do we do from here? And the process was to cool her body down, and that took about, I think, 12 hours, and then to warm it back up, which took another 12 to 24 hours. But then it was the Tuesday night that they came to us and told us about there was no brain activity. And up to that point, we were hearing little bits about, well, things look good, things are getting a little bit better. So that was
As
pretty
far
much,
as my heart.
yeah. And we had a doctor that day, actually came in, a heart doctor, and we asked him, how's the heart? And he says, well, the heart's not the issue. So that was a hard thing to understand, because we didn't know what exactly that meant. Obviously good news about the heart, but he said it in a way that we knew that the brain was what they were really concerned about. So that Tuesday night when we met with the neurologist and he told us that that there was no brain activity, we were pretty much floored, because we weren't expecting that. We weren't expecting that to be the scenario. And once that happened, because he basically told us flat out there was zero chance of her making it. And so we.
And you asked him if there was any hope, and he said there's no
hope. No hope. And so we pretty much started the grieving process. The only thing that he did at that time was he said there's one last test we can do, and he said this is not going to change my diagnosis. He said, but we can do a test to shoot some dye up into her brain to see if there's any kind of blood or brain activity there. And Liz Ali and I got the call, I'd say probably about midnight, that the doctor says, well, he says, as I mentioned, this doesn't change our diagnosis, but we can't rule out that there's no brain blood flow to the brain. And then that night they did the test to see if there was any blood flow at all to the brain. Called back to the emergency or the ICU. Liz Ali was with me, and I listened to the doctor, and he said that they can't rule out that there's no blood flow to the brain, but that didn't change his prognosis, diagnosis, whatever you want to call it. And I let Liz talk to him for a second, and we both decided, and the doctor basically gave us this option to say, hey, let's wait till the morning, leave her on the breathing tube, and Then from the morning, we'll do the same test again and see if there's any change. Well, then obviously, like I said, we started the grieving process. People started arriving at the hospital. The word started getting out that she had no brain activity. So it was a very emotional time. I tell people we kept going back and forth between crying about the situation and then laughing about different things that, Becky had done over the years. So it was really an emotional time. And then, I think it was about 1:30 we ended up leaving. I ended up staying in my brother's apartment nearby, and tried to go to sleep about 2:30. Really, obviously couldn't sleep a whole lot.
And you had Jordan with you.
And Jordan was with me. The phone rang, my cell phone rang at 3:42 was the time that it rang. The first time I didn't answer it, because I just thought, well, who would be calling now, and it can't be anything good at 3:42 in the morning. Second time it rang 5 minutes later, I answered it, and it was the chaplain at the hospital. She said, "Mr. Greenlee, the nurse would like to talk to you." And I thought, great, so they're going to tell me over the phone that it's over and all that. Well, the nurse got on the phone and said, "Mr. Greenlee, I just want to let you know that Rebecca is blinking and she's responding to commands." Well, obviously, I didn't know what to think because my mindset was not even in that ballpark as far as anything of that nature. So I asked her flat out. I said, "Well, is that good?" Because I'm thinking, going from brain dead to one step up from that is not a good thing. So, how good is this news she's telling me? And she said it's very good news. And that gave me some confidence, I guess, because usually nurses don't tell you a whole lot unless they know something good's going on, because they don't want to tell you anything the doctor is not going to tell you. So obviously we went in at that time, and we went in to see her, and sure enough, she was starting to blink her eyes and open her eyes and all that. And the neurologist came in that morning, and you could just kind of tell he was still pretty pessimistic. I believe he had thought that we saw some things that were like involuntary, that kind of thing, not really anything significant. And he turned around to look at Becky and said something like, "I heard we had some changes last night." And at that time when he turned around, she opened her eyes, and he just was floored. He dropped his bag and just took a step back and said, basically he'd never seen anything like it in 30 years of practicing medicine. So that was the first sign for us that.
He also said my diagnosis was correct.
Yeah, he said that his original diagnosis was correct, but obviously.
Well, didn't he say he could only attribute it to my will to live and God?
I think, I can't remember if it was that one or the other neurologist, but one of the neurologists said that, yeah. But then they had another neurologist came in that day, later on that day, and suggested she was going to have 100% recovery. But, again, that's pretty amazing to go from one extreme. Well, one thing through this whole process, and obviously I've never been through anything quite this magnitude before, but what it does, it really helps you to understand where your faith is. And I really saw my faith grow, and I really thought I saw a lot of other people's faith grow during this whole situation. And kind of a couple things here. First of all is I really felt like the Lord was, when it says in the Bible that the Lord will pretty much speak for you, I felt like that happened during this process, because there were times where I said things to people that I don't remember saying. For example, Rodney was very emotional about this whole thing, and after all this happened, he was telling people, or he told me that I told him that he needs to stay strong, keep his faith, keep praying and all that. I don't remember saying those things to Rodney, So in my estimation, God basically I was kind of on automatic mode with God in control of what I was doing a lot, because like I said, I wasn't thinking clearly during a lot of that time with family and friends, and I think especially Rodney, because it was very hard to, I mean, it really tested your faith. You're really, she's in there, and they've told us there's no hope. I go out and I talk to Rodney, and the last thing I want to do is tell Rodney, hey, it's over. So I basically, he said, I told him that, don't quit praying, don't give up hope, trust in the Lord, what he's going to do. And like I said, I don't remember saying that, but I'm so glad that happened, because that really, I think, had an impact on Rodney and myself, obviously, too. The other thing I want to mention, we had, I don't know how many people talk to us about the prayers that they gave for Becky. One in particular that really stands out to me. We have a man by the name of Sean Busick. I don't know if anyone knows Sean. Sean is the head basketball coach at Zionsville, and Sean has tremendous faith. And he had been following this whole situation when she got to the hospital. And my brother and Sean are good friends. Well, he was texting and talking to Sean through the whole process, and Sean was, getting his prayer warriors out there praying for Becky. And that Tuesday night, when all that came down with the doctor saying she was brain dead, my brother talked to Sean, and Sean was not fazed by it. It was amazing. He said, well, he says, I don't buy it. Yeah, I don't buy it. She's going to get through this.
He actually said when we saw him at the basketball state finals that he felt like God told him that in 24 hours something's going to happen, and he told Doug that. Mm-hmm. He said in 24 hours something good's going to happen.
That Tuesday night, he told my brother.
He told Doug that.
And I mean, his faith was just, and that to me is something that it just, the whole situation just really adds to everything that.
And he told these missionaries in Nepal to pray for me, and Sean and this missionary actually called me, and she wanted to talk to me because she and this group of women, this Cheryl and these women had been praying for me, and it was just amazing. I mean, there were literally people all over the world that were praying for me. So it was really, I mean, I'm just so thankful. I mean, I do think, sometimes, God's going to take you home when he's ready, But I really feel like intercessory prayer brought me back to the person I am. One of the things that I feel like it really changed my life, and that, I feel like I got a second chance with my kids. I feel like that if I would have passed during that time, I feel like my legacy to my kids would have been that I was a hard worker. I was just always working. I was either working at school or working at home. Having 5 kids here, there's a lot to do, and since the heart attack, I feel like I've made my kids more of a priority as far as spending good time with them, and just trying to strengthen my relationships even with the older boys. And I'm so thankful Rodney and Jordan didn't have to lose another month.
We want to make sure that everyone that understands how much we appreciate everything that everybody's done. I mean, from prayers to
practical things,
financial gifts to help in the home, babysitting. I mean, you name it. We've had a tremendous support from the church, the community, everybody around here, and we just feel like we can't say enough of how much we appreciate it, and it just shows again the power of God. I believe that when someone goes through something like this, the just to overcome it is difficult, but to overcome it alone would be just overwhelming, and just to feel that presence of the Lord in what everyone is doing for us and helping us is something that we've just been
It's been
amazed by.
mind-boggling.
And we just want to let everybody know that we really appreciate everything, and that everything's going really well. Probably everybody knows that she had a throat surgery about a week or so ago, and that went well. Her airway was closing up, so they had to do a laser surgery there. So that's better. Her voice is still not where she wants it, but everything else seems to be going in the right direction. This is going to be a shocker to most people, but the biggest thing for her is to try to get her to settle down a little bit and rest. But I think she does understand that that's got to be more of a priority in her
But
life.
my schedule has ratcheted down considerably, you know. But the other thing I wanted to say is just how our friends outside of our church and our family outside of our church have been just amazed by the support we've gotten. I mean, it's just, you know, and I have to say that I felt kind of paralyzed to go back to church because I didn't know how to say thank you. I wanted to do this speech, you know, where I said this big thank you for everything. And, you know, at first I wasn't going anywhere because, you know, I was still recovering. And then I couldn't breathe because I hadn't had that procedure yet. And then I thought, well, half the people be on spring break, so I can't do it now. So I'm just really grateful for this opportunity for you guys to come to our home and for me to be able to say thank you to everybody who's helped us. It's really touched our lives and really just exceeded any expectations that we could have ever had for support during a trying time. I mean, we have just, I mean, people can't believe it. They just can't believe it. It's been so amazing. So I just, you know, we're very grateful.
Yeah.